my name is Spielberg, and you are Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And yes, the decorations are still up. I keep them up till 12th night. I am somewhat of a traditionalist. Well, I am a rabbi. After all, I guess I am. So I guess I'll be traditionally, an Orthodox rabbi. So I guess I will be big on the traditions. Speaking of the traditions, yesterday was the Sabbath. Saturday, basically, I'm offline all day, so I do try and catch up my reading. I print out SFX magazine, bits of SFX magazine I want to read, because I have a digital subscription. It's really the only time. And I read their review of Wonder Woman, and it just gave me fascinating insight into everything that's wrong with SFX magazine and fandom in general. And that is, we have one group of fandom who cannot let go of this, combative, warlike spirit against the other group of fandom who seems to have been here quite a bit longer, right? Quite a bit longer. They say it seems to be like the younger people in fandom do not like the older people in fandom, and when they say they don't like them existing or being around. So we see this very clearly in this review of Wonder Woman, which we're going to read together. I think it's going to make a new segment. We're going to call it SHILL Reviews, which shill tremendously, and they do indeed highlight the problem in our dear fandom. Before we get into that, can I ask you guys, can you hit the like button? That'd be great. Can you hit that share button? Fandabby Double Dozy, can you hit the subscribe button? Thank you very much. I am somewhat ridiculously grateful for everybody subscribing, and I am ridiculously grateful for everybody subscribing. You subscribe, you can enter my competitions. Competitions are back. The prize this week is Judge Dredd, The Complete Case Files, Volume 10. This is a big one. It's a telephone directory thick one. No mega epics in this one. Just really good story after really good story after really good story with really good artwork. You got Cam Kennedy, Ian Gibson, Brendan McCarthy. Oh man, Brendan McCarthy's work is great. I like his early stuff. Barry Kitson. Oh, I wonder where I'm to. I like this stuff. Steve Dillon is great from his first line. Impression line he did to his last line. Gary Leach is Judge Dredd. Yeah, Gary Leach's work in general is absolutely superb. So anyway, all you need to do to win this, subscribe to the channel, subscribe, and in the comments leave the hashtag Zarjas. Go check the video notes. Everything you need to know to win it is indeed right there. While you're checking the video notes, go check out this. It's my Indiegogo. I'm putting together an email. If you can go and click the link and sign up to the email, that will be absolutely fantastic. So let's have a look at this article. Yeah, we go. Wonder Woman 84. We go. Now, let's just put this in context. Wonder Woman hasn't done very well, right? Wonder Woman's part of this new era of streaming where they lose the hypnosis, right? Normally they put out tons of shill reviews and people go, oh, that's not bad. Then they'll convince themselves to go to the cinema to see it. They'll invest $50, $100, whatever. And then when you invest the money, a movie's going to be pretty bad for you to go, it's crap, right? And by that time, they got your money anyway. Doesn't work anymore. So this part of the hypnosis, which this review is just so obvious. It's so incredibly obvious. This movie's done very badly, and quite rightly too. So it was not a good movie. It was boring. It turned some. I don't know how they did this. They turned somebody who was essentially one of the most powerful people in the DC universe into a boring Mary Sue. Right? That's your choice then. And every white guy in it was like, I'm gonna eat you girls. So there was that. So anyway, but let's read this article where we see the other side of fandom who's going to say this is stunning and brave. How do you make a successful DC movie these days? By keeping it far from looking like a DC movie as possible, it seems. So, interesting way to start. He'll say, DC movies, we don't really like them. We like them when they're like Marvel, right? So let's see where he's going with this, right? While a small but vocal section of fans online eagerly await the Snyder cut of Justice League. This is ground zero of awful for this person who reviewed. I think it's Dave Golder. We'll see his name at the end. This is the ground zero of awfulness for them. That they've demanded this thing called the Snyder cut. For real fans, genuine fans said, the Joss Whedon Justice League didn't look very good. I was kind of interested where that Zack Snyder 6-movie arc thing was going. The movies were long and they were kind of like trudging through it. But listen, I watched Batman v Superman. Was it right after I saw Wonder Woman? and it was really good. I split it over 2 nights, and I think Justice League is going to be doing much better as a prestige series, which I think all these series they're going to be doing because they just usually have much more time in them. But yeah, the fans, the older fans, the old school fans, got something they wanted, made these people crazy, made them green, made them just swallow their own bile. They can't stand it, right? They can't stand it. So now they're going to lecture them about how wrong they are to do that. And the irony is the best of the DC films now. Wait till you hear this. These films are like Shazam. Yeah, Shazam was actually kind of fun because it was, you know why it was did well? There was one of the few things in the cinematic landscape or in the entertainment landscape that wasn't preaching this obnoxious brand of politics and ideology to you. This obnoxious brand of politics, the person who wrote this article subscribes to 100%. Okay, so that's why it did quite well. Aquaman, same thing. Now here comes the kicker. Now this is how you know this guy's full of crap. Birds of Prey. Let's read that sentence again. The irony is the best received DC films of late. Birds of Prey? Best received? No, it was a woke nightmare and it tanked horribly. It wasn't well received. It was well received by arseholes like you who said, oh, it's so funny, so brave, not made for the male gaze. No, we're so progressive. Yeah, you're great. The ones who seem to ignore that the Justice League shared universe ever existed. I hate the Snyder Cut, is what he's saying. I hate it, it's gonna fail, I hate it. It's gonna do better than this movie, mate, let me tell you. Even the first Wonder Woman made at the height of the Snyder Ban only had a brief nod to Batman. Yeah, but that first Wonder Woman movie was good. That's the other thing. It was good, and it was very much set in that Snyderverse, right? And then went and did its own thing, its own more interesting thing. God, this guy doesn't like Zack Snyder at all. Was it more interesting thing? Yeah, okay. I'm going to say it was one of the more successful movies of that Snyderverse. Now we have Wonder Woman in 1984, or if the on-screen title was taken as canon, WW84. I think it probably is. I think they wanted to separate it as much as they could from Wonder Woman, as she was only in it for like 5-10 minutes. So now I'm like about 20 minutes out the 2.5 hours, 2.5 terminal hours, which perhaps holds a double meaning for the movie set at the height of the the Cold War nuclear tension. What? No, it had nothing to do with that. Right? Nothing to do. You had a Reagan-esque president, but really had nothing to do with that. Even more than before, this feels like Wonder Woman emancipated. Oh God, the language is so clear. What's on your mind? Emancipated from the grid mark trappings of. God, yeah, he looks emancipated from the grid mark trappings. Look at him, poor Chris Pine. What have they done to you, man? Put yourself together. Put some clothes on. From the Snyderverse. I hate the Snyderverse. Hate it. Don't read that to mean it's all got MCU. No, MCU movies are generally speaking successful. There is one little difference. Superficially, Wonder Woman 84 may feel a little more Marvel. No, not really, not at all. But its main influence in terms of tone and emotional heart are clearly the Christopher Reeve Superman films. No. Where'd you get that from? Well, I don't remember there being a Reagan-esque villain, like screaming at you through most of the movie while all the men are going around trying to eat women or rape them or so. No. Those Christopher Reeve movies reflected the society as it was to that day, not the society in your diseased imaginations you want to believe you exist in, because that's what you want. And more specifically, the director Richard John's blueprint for the series. Patty Jenkins returns as a director and just makes a turgid borefest. The Gal Gadot once again starring as the Amazon warrior, and together they deliver the kind of sequel you want. Nope. I wanted a kind of sequel that was more similar to the first movie in that it wasn't relentlessly awful and boring, keeping everything you liked from the first one. No, first one, but it didn't keep everything I liked from the first one. Wonder Woman actually had an arc in it. You saw who she was, and you cared about it. And when she stepped out into that no man's land, That was such an earned moment. Nothing in this movie was earned because she's Wonder Woman. She's the best as ever. You know, and that's the tragedy of this movie. Keeping everything you like, so no, didn't do that. About the first book, creating something very different as well. Yeah, they made shit. there is that difference. It opens up with a breathtaking extended sequence. It was breathtaking because it was just so badly judged. Set in Themyscira with a young Diana taking part in the most epic total wipeout ever. It was awful, okay? It was, first, the CGI was horrible, but, you know, you had vaguely attractive women after vaguely attractive women. That I understand they made them not for the male gaze, but still they couldn't stop looking attractive. So every time you saw a vaguely attractive woman in some kind of like spandex like outfit, they would then turn the camera to the 8-year-old Wonder Woman, and there's nothing that ruins titillation than seeing a spandex clad 8-year-old. I was going to say 8-year-old. 18-year-old might do the trick. 8-year-old, not so much. It was just so screaming, not for the male gaze! No male gaze for you! Really? Listen, I understand you don't want to make pornography, right? You don't want to make something only for the male gaze. I understand that. But to say having attractive people look attractive in movies is a terrible thing. Yeah, it's going to work out pretty much like this movie did. A flop. An absolute flop. And that whole thing, it was just horrible. Again, it made her into a Mary Sue. It made her into a Mary Sue because she was the bestest ever. No, she didn't have to struggle or earn anything. And cheating to and cheating to try and nab the prize. It wasn't clear that she cheated. She fell off a horse and she saw this other way to go. Seemed like an innovative solution. Okay, maybe it was cheating, but wasn't really made clear. And maybe that's something the director should have done rather than preen themselves about how wonderful they are for making a stunning and brave movie. Where'd he go? Wipeout. There we go. Nothing, and ticking. Spotted. She's given a ticking off and a lesson about how nothing good ever comes from lies, which of course, that of course informs the rest of the film. Yes, it was like the Master of the Universe message of the day, right? It oh god, it was so on the nose, so obvious, so dull. Then fast forward to 1984, and it's another amusing action sequence. That's almost updated version of the opening from Superman 3. No! And again, speaking of someone who lived in the 80s, it didn't look like that. That looked more like the 90s, to be honest with you. High on comedy and day-glow fashions. Yeah, no, none of that was right. None of that worked. As Wonder Woman 4... where'd you go? I'm back to commenting about the Snyder cut again. As Wonder Woman 4, some small-time villains in a shopping centre who are all evil white men, right? Sorry, saying the word evil's redundant. I said white men, so they obviously. In a shopping centre so 80s, you'd have to Ferris Bueller to drive a Ferrari through the forecourt. No, if you want to know what a real 80s shopping mall looked like, watch Stranger Things. It didn't look like this at all. You know, there was a lot more green. There was a lot more like pastel green. Okay, that nothing like that at all. Then the plot kicks in, and surprising amount of character building before the next action sequence. Let me translate that. You used to wait an hour and a half, I think, before you see Wonder Woman again. It is turgid. Building before the next big action sequence as dodgy oil baron and small town celeb Max Lord, obviously a Trump-alike, everyone's favourite Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, who, I understand, he's a decent actor, he is a decent actor, not great in Mandalorian, I mean, like, I can totally live without him in Mandalorian, put a bucket on somebody else's head, don't really care, but it was so clear that he was channeling his Trump derangement syndrome view of who he views the President of the United States to be. Because he's crazy! Right? He's a crazy Hollywood fanook. What do you want out of me? Gets his hands on a magic wishing gem and starts recreating the world to his own advantage. Parallel this with an origin story for Cheetah. Oh, God. With Kristen Wiig as a nerdy but affable archaeologist. I mean, like, Kristen Wiig and everything else she's in. Nerdy but affable archaeologist. I believe Kristen Wiig. This is really annoying me. I believe Kristen Wiig to be reasonably talented. There was a movie she did with Bill Hader, who I really, really rate a lot. If you haven't seen his show about the Hitman on HBO, what's it called again? Can't remember. Great show. That is a good show. He did a movie called The Skeleton Twins or something. I've always wanted to see that because I genuinely believe she's a personal talent, right? Not in this thing. Ultimately transforms into an apex predator. Sure, it's Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy all over again, but it's done with a lot more depth and subtlety. No, it's not. It's done with zero depth and subtlety. It's done with Kristen Wiig being Kristen Wiig being Kristen Wiig. Again, shill review. I understand. And he's not just shilling for the studio. He's shilling, although he's shilling against the studio by dissing the Snyder, he's shilling for the ideology of the studio, right? Which, shut up. I went from being excited for that Rogue Squadron movie, which had a great trailer, to being like, I couldn't care less. After this Drek, it looks bad for you, Patty Jenkins. It looked bad. It's just a shame. A final form looks like something out of Tom. There we go, Tom Hooper's. Oh, Tom Hooper's Cats. Only not as scary. Yeah, it looks terrible. It doesn't look good. Steve Terra, Chris Pine is back. Yeah, inhabiting the body of an unsuspecting person who then, without his consent, is forced to have sex with Diana with Gal Gadot, which I understand doesn't sound like too much of a sacrifice. Still, either something's wrong or it's not. I don't think it's universally wrong or it's not, right? If you're using somebody's body against the will, which they keep putting this guy in terrible danger as well. I didn't see any consent there, but I guess consent is only a thing when you can scream at somebody about it. Is back despite his death in the first film. The resurrection is cleverly and systematically woven into the story. Though some Lego One was breakdancing man at a time shtick is laid on a tad too thick. You think, blimey. If this guy criticizes it, it's got to be the worst thing ever. Gadot is simply wonderful throughout. Not really. Listen, I like Gal Gadot. This was a massive misstep for her. If her next movie is as big a flop as this, her career is going to take a real tumble, right? Until this, she was on course to being Hollywood A-list. She absolutely was. This has set her back. This has absolutely set her back. And again, I watched Batman v Superman after this. Far, far better in that than she was in this, right? I just think it's... people have to be scared to fail, right? And I think they went into saying we could do anything and we're going to be great. A note perfect performance portrayal of an icon infused with otherworldly charm. The film is also brave enough to find its own pace. In translation, it's unevenly paced. Concentrated on character and plot building when needed, rather than default to action series set pieces. Every few minutes. Yeah, but again, I got the balance wrong. It just got the balance wrong. It was boring. It was a boring chick flick. There's also some lovely nods to Wonder Woman comics mythology, I know anything about it, and a few cameos to spot. Yeah, Linda Carter's in it and a post-credit sequence for reasons. The result is a remarkably uplifting feel-good movie. No, it's not. You're lying. You're lying! And because we've all seen the movie, we all know you're lying, right? It's also clear that you're lying. Which is kind of why I'm enjoying the new streaming reality, I think. Feel-good movie if it's a little silly in places. Okay, it's a movie about a superpowered Amazon, but given that in some places it feels like the movie is stretching out of its own reality to the limit. The action sequence, while magnificent, no, they're not. Rely on slow motion to the point of parody, yes. And Lord, though, brought to life by an entertaining screen-hogging performance, Pascal is disappointingly one note, like Jack Torrance's, Jack Torrance in The Shining. Really? You think that's what it was going for? I don't think that's what it was going for. I think it was more of a political analogy. You think it could have been? You think it could have been that? I don't know. So he's clearly loco from the first scene. It's difficult to buy his descent into madness. Because again, he played him like how he views the president, who he thinks is nuts. A much-needed backstory arrives way too late. Yeah, I didn't care about it in the day to change matters, although he ends up being the hero of the movie. But with a sequel this fun, it wasn't fun. A third film seems a shoo-in. Well, it was before you wrote this. Let's just hope the league doesn't have to be involved. This sister, again, saying everything right here. This sister is doing it for herself just fine. Slay, yes, Queen, slay. And it says Pedro Pascal was also in the failed 2011 pilot. Yeah, so yeah, it's clear. Dave Golder hates much of the sci-fi fandom community, and he views them as deplorable, bigot, sexist, racist, because most of them probably think that, generally speaking, Star Wars looks better when it's aimed at 8-year-old boys rather than 8-year-old girls, right? And this sheer hatred leaking out of it, and the shillingness, very, very obvious from it, is why SFX is a magazine that I buy and I read to take the piss out of. If he ever gets too excited, but if I ever run out of things to take the piss out of, you're done, mate. And the only reason you're still around is because I have this channel. My name is Elon Beck, and you the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.